Mea culpa. I have a couple semi-related questions regarding underage Sea Org members. 1. When someone who is still within the compulsory school attendance age range joins the Sea Org, how does Scientology get around those pesky truancy laws? And 2, would someone as young as 15 or so actually end up in the RPF for infractions deemed worthy of such a punishment? Is there a minimum age for that? What about the whole? And did you ever know of someone being on the RPF at a very young age? I've read that children are not seen as children in Scientology, so my guess is that the age of the individual would not come into consideration. I certainly hope I'm mistaken, but somehow I doubt it. Thanks. Okay, thanks for the questions. First off, in terms of the compulsory school attendance, what I saw myself is that, yes, there were Sea Org members who were underage and still attending school, and school was set up for them on the base. Now, this is, in the 2000s now. We're not talking about the crap that went on in the 70s, 80s, and 90s where these kids were given substandard schooling, no schooling at all. The nursery was a cockroach-filled disaster zone. We're not talking about that time. This more closer to present time. There was somebody assigned who got accredited as a teacher, or got some kind of credentials, and was able to run an actual school setup on the Sea Org base and deal with and educate the kids. And he set up little check sheets and a little, grade system, and they got textbooks, and they were doing the whole number. And it wasn't great because they were studying in a Scientology classroom with all the other people doing other Scientology classes, and they were kids, and there's a lot more to learning than just sitting reading books or watching videos, and that's basically what they were doing. And their school time could be cut across by post demands or job problems, because they were little Sea Org members. But the Office of Special Affairs had set up that they were supposed to be on a certain number of hours, and they were supposed to secure at a certain time, because they were only supposed to have 8 working hours, I think, a day, and then their study time, their school time, which was, I believe for them, it was 5 hours a day. So they were doing like their study, and then I think they were doing their work time. And I think by like 9:30 or 10 o'clock or something, they were supposed to be secured. And you'd see them running around at 11 o'clock at night after you get off post, or 11:30. And there they are sitting around in the stairwell talking. And you're like, yeah, school, right? Whatever. Bunch of slackers, right? And we're talking about minors. I mean, it was just, our whole attitude just really sucked about kids. It really, really did. Anyway, so that was kind of how they get around those pesky truancy laws. Now, as far as the RPF for minors go, yes, RPF definitely has had minors on it. People have been assigned for cause of credit card, fraud, or 2D stuff, sex stuff, etc. I've seen a couple cases, not lots and lots of them. I think there was a 15-year-old. I think the youngest I ever heard about somebody on the RPF, like ever, was a kid back on the ships back in the day. There was a woman who was still a Sea Org member who told me she was on the RPF as a kid on the ship. And not the Freewinds, but Hubbard's boat, way back in the day. And so I was like, damn. And she was like 12 years old or something, but again, the RPF was a little bit of a different program then than it became later. So grueling, hard work, absolutely not an excuse. It was definitely child abuse, but the abuse that comes with the program later in time was even worse. And there were kids doing that program too. I don't know if any minors ended up in the hole. I have no idea. I don't know what the census was there. I know that there were young people at the INT base and at CMO, so it's entirely possible that the high-level management organizations that Miscavige is running directly up there, or used to run directly, have kids. There are young people up there. So whether any one of them ended up in the hole or not, I couldn't say. And children are definitely considered adults in little bodies. That is how Scientologists think of kids, because that's how they're told to think about them. Hubbard was not great when it came to his attitude toward his own children and toward children in general. He was a real ruthless asshole taskmaster. So there you go.